your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NORDVPN.com. Not just a glove, it's a 44 Pro. Crafted with dedication, made for performance, and built to last. Get your custom glove today at 44pro.com and experience the 44 Pro difference. That's 44pro.com, 44 Pro.
Our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Whether it's sports, theater, or concert, for the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. Ticket Liquidator.
Introducing Bark in the Belly Premium Dog Food. 100% of profits go to help dogs in need.
Over 30% of adults struggle with chronic foot and joint pain, and many face mobility limitations as they age. But a revolutionary Comfort First slipper has taken the wellness world by storm. Try Cloud Slides and feel you are walking on the clouds. Cloud Slides.
Hello and welcome on in to a very different feeling Wicked Boston show with Cam Stuart here on Rogue Media Sports Network. Different because for the first time in almost 3 months, we've got to break down a Patriots loss. The 10-game winning streak comes to an end in pretty drastic, dramatic, cinematic fashion. The Patriots absolutely choke, blow a 21-point lead in their chance to win the AFC East on Sunday. What does that say about this team? We're going to have Mike Debate of Sports Illustrated coming in to tell us exactly that. What it means for this team going forward, what it means for Drake Maye in a big game going forward, what it means for this defense the rest of the season. A lot of question marks all of a sudden around this Patriots team that were not here 48 hours ago. We'll go over all of that. And then Mike Vrabel, everyone's favorite this year, calling out the officials after his team gave up 5 straight touchdowns. Why did he do that? And what kind of a look is that? All that and more coming up on this episode of the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stuart. We start where we start. We are sifting through the rubble and the aftermath as the Patriots finally lose a football game. It all went wrong. The Patriots choked. Drake Maye choked. The defense choked. Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels, they choked too. That's the only explanation when you blow a 21-0 lead at home with a chance to win the division right there in front of you. Win, and you're putting on the hats and t-shirts. The Patriots were not ready for this moment. And now what I think is the concern across New England is, will they be ready for this kind of moment this year? Are they built to actually be a playoff team and a legit AFC contender? Because the rest of the country, they're saying no. They're saying you've played one good team in 2 months and you just blew it. Of course, then they would say the last good team they faced before that was Buffalo, which the Patriots won. But that doesn't matter. They split against them, and I'll tell you what, it felt a lot like 2021. The Patriots didn't have no 21-0 lead back in 2021, but they couldn't stop Buffalo that whole game in late December in Foxborough. Just needed one stop, and they couldn't get it. And that's basically what they needed in this game, and they could not get it. What's interesting about this one is I don't exactly know the turning point in this game. You know, they're up 21-0 in the second quarter, and we're having fun. I think a lot of Patriots fans are not, like, totally writing off the game yet when it's 21-0 in the middle of the second quarter because there's a lot of time for Josh Allen. But, of course, you're having fun as a fan base. You're feeling really good. You're ready to fire off some tweets. And then they just kind of wake up. Buffalo gets a touchdown before the half, but then the Patriots go down the field and kick a field goal. And you know the Bills have it to start the second half, and you think, okay, you've either got to get a stop or you got to get a response. And the Patriots did not get either of those things. And it all snowballed from there. But we'll get to Drake Maye because I know he's the talk of today. But you can't begin to talk about the choke in this game without starting with the defense. In the second half, the Bills go 7 yards per play in the entire second half. After Josh Allen throws for 39 in the first half, the Bills just shove it down your throat, one after the other, like it's Bonnie Blue, man. 5 straight touchdown drives. 5 for 5 in the red zone. The Patriots are still the 32nd best red zone defense in the NFL. And for those of you keeping score at home, there's only 32 teams. And they've been that way for a couple of weeks. They've been the worst red zone defense, and they've not been a very good red zone offense either. Although they did have a decent day yesterday with Drake Maye, a couple rushing touchdowns. But 31 points should be enough to win a game in this league. That should be it. 31 with the way this defense has been going all year and the way you played in the first half, 31 should be enough. But it wasn't. And the Bills just shoved it right down their throat every time. I said my biggest concern going into this game was I think Buffalo can control the run game. And you look at the overall stats, and they didn't. When you just look at those stats, right? The Patriots had 80 more rushing yards than the Bills did. But the difference in the last game these two teams played was the Patriots forced 3 turnovers in Buffalo. They didn't force a single one yesterday. And James Cook was held under 50 yards. He's having a great season. He had 107 yesterday and 2 touchdowns. This has been the second worst run defense in football the last 5 games, and you saw it on full display. Again, get to Drake Maye in a second here because he was not good in the second half at all, and he deserves to be dragged a little bit, if not for just this one game. But if 31 isn't good enough to win a game for you, and you let a team go down 5 straight drives and get into the damn end zone, you aren't going to beat anybody in the playoffs. If this is actually what the Patriots defense is, which it could be, but if that's actually what the Patriots defense is, they are not winning a playoff game. I'm sorry, man, because the teams you'll be playing will be Buffalo, again, the Chargers, Jacksonville. God, am I going to have to bet against them with Jacksonville? I was pretty sure about that a week ago, that Trevor Lawrence couldn't come in there and beat him. But just right down the field on him. The kick coverage was horrible. The Patriots really were not good in any of the 3 phases yesterday. They had a good first half defensively. They had a good first half offensively, but they were piss poor in both of those in the second half, and they were downright awful in kick coverage the whole game. I can't believe Buffalo didn't take a kickback for a touchdown. But how many times did they start in plus territory? Like, if that's how you're going to play, yes, I'm telling you, Jacksonville, the Chargers, the Texans, the Buffalo Bills, the Ravens, which we'll see next week, they can come into your building and beat you if that's going to be your defense and your kick coverage, let alone the quarterback. They can beat you. Anyone can beat you doing that. And I know it's 1 loss in 3 months, but how glaring was this? This did not, one of these teams looked like they were playing for the number 1 seed in the AFC and the AFC East crown. And it was not the Patriots. It sure as hell was not the Patriots. And of course, the other thing that people really care about more than the number 1 seed in the AFC East divisional title is the MVP race, because the talk all around the nation today is that Drake Maye can't possibly win the MVP after having a bad game. Matthew Stafford had a stinker last week, but he's still the front runner. But Drake Maye cannot have a bad game, which is whatever, because he did have a bad game. The first half was fine. The Patriots were controlling the tempo. They were running the ball, obviously, really well. Drake Maye, 2 rushing touchdowns. Didn't need to do a whole lot with his arm. Really didn't in the whole game. But when he needed to, at the end of it, it was stanky, man. Just stanky. It's gone for over 200 every game this season until now. 155 yards in the day, no touchdowns, and a pick. And the second half, awful. Fourth quarter, even worse. 1 completion in the fourth quarter when his team needed him. In the second half, he goes 5 for 12 for 47 yards, 3 sacks, a pick, and no touchdowns. When the team is crumbling, when the division title is slipping away, at least for this week, and he's finally in a moment, and I'm texting people, they're texting me like, this is Drake's moment. You want to win an MVP, kid? You want to be a Super Bowl contender? It starts right here. I said it on the program on Friday that you can't control that Drake Maye hasn't played a playoff game by the time they make the playoffs. But this is the best dress rehearsal you can have. This has to be treated like a playoff game. And if that was a playoff game for Drake Maye, then we need to shelf a lot of the comparisons for a while, because that was abysmal down the stretch. Abysmal. He's now 1-3 when trailing by 7 or less in a fourth quarter game this year. Only time that he won was against Miami. That was a 6-point victory. And now 2 of these last 3 games look pretty tricky for the Patriots. But on the flip side, by the way, Josh Allen, who's now getting the MVP glaze, Allen's a terrific player and obviously deserved an MVP last year. But again, one game, he's great, and everyone's like, oh, he's got to be the MVP now. Look at what he did head-to-head against the other MVP candidate. Okay, Drake Maye wasn't going to pick off any of Josh Allen's passes, but Allen was terrific in the second half. 13 for 20, 158 yards, no picks, no sacks, 2 touchdowns, and at least 1 sideline vomit session. And he won the game. And again, led 5 straight touchdown drives and 7 yards per play for Buffalo in the second half. I don't know what in the hell happened to Drake Maye, but maybe he needs to throw up on the sideline. Maybe he needs to get a little more sick. Maybe he needs to start eating some more of these baked goods from Ann Michael, because one of those performances made us vomit, and it wasn't Josh Allen's. I don't know how the hell it just fell apart for him. It looked like the first quarter against Cincinnati and the fourth quarter against Buffalo. Just couldn't throw the ball into the ocean in the fourth quarter. That doesn't take away from the great season he's having, but it does take away your first opportunity to win a championship this year. And should we look at Drake Maye's season completely differently because of this fourth quarter? No. But can we look at how the Patriots played in this game, and specifically in the second half, and curb our enthusiasm? Of course we can. Of course we can. I'm not going to do the whole schedule thing of like, oh, this is the first good team they've played since, because I don't believe that. This is an any given Sunday league. And the Patriots won 10 in a row, including a game at Buffalo, including a game at Tampa, including a game where they beat Atlanta and Atlanta then beat Buffalo. You know what I mean? So we can parse through that shit all day. And we can do it till the cows come home. It doesn't make any difference. But in not their only big game of the season, but their biggest game of the season, that's what they do in the second half. It is concerning, to say the least. And now they're going to be dogs for a second straight week. They're going to go to Baltimore, and they'll be dogs. And they'll go to play the Jets, and the Jets are actual, like, dogs. Like, they're just a good, likely chance of winning a game in the NFL as German Shepherds would. But then Miami, in that Week 18 matchup, is very tricky. Miami does not know that they're dead. And we have seen that before with the Patriots. 2019 comes to mind. All you needed to do was beat Miami in the final week of the regular season, a team you'd beaten 43-0 earlier in the year, and had Ryan Fitzpatrick at quarterback, and you would have been the number 2 seed. You would have had the bye, and they laid an egg, and they didn't do it. I've already compared this to 2021. Now I'm looking at that. I'm concerned. I am concerned. Are you? Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Of course, we come at you live every weekday, noon Eastern time on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts as well. Your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio. It's right here on the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stuart. How concerned should we be? That's the question I'm going to ask to Sports Illustrated's Mike Debate. The Patriots expert, Monday Morning Mike, is going to join us next on the Wicked Boston Show.
It's hard to find supplements that work. No, thank you. Plant-based supplements made from the Earth's most powerful plants for your immune health, gut health, workouts, and more. Find out more at auraorganic.com.
BadCreditLoans.com is a pioneering service provider that has carved a reputation in the financial industry. Simple, fast, and reliable loan application process. And its commitment to responsible borrowing makes it a trusted partner in the journey towards financial stability.
A house is a property, but we live in homes. Home sweet home. Homes where the heart is. We aim to deliver the best home buying and selling experience so you can spend less time real estating and more time living.
With Ease US, make studio quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects. Never been easier to create professional grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US. Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. NALGENE.com.
Back here on the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stuart, feigning a smile. A solemn day on the Wicked Boston Show, because a fate worse than death to some people on Sunday afternoons. The Patriots lost a football game. It hasn't happened in a while. We got so used to it over the last couple of years, and now here we are after 10 straight wins. It feels like kind of a catatonic loss. The Patriots blow their chance, at least this week, to win the AFC East after having a 21-0 lead against Buffalo. It all goes to crud, and they lose 35-31. The 10-game winning streak is snapped, and I, for one, am concerned. And that's why I bring on Mike Debate of Patriots on SI. He is covering them better than just about anybody else out there. He's also our Monday morning guest every week. Mike, I always appreciate your time and coming on, and I know you're usually a voice of reason for me. Okay, that's one of the kind of things that really helps out, or that you really help out with when you come on. But I gotta ask, after this loss to the Bills, what is the most concerning part about this for you?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would say lack of fundamental football down the stretch to me was the biggest concern for the New England Patriots. Look, we know that Drake Maye is going to have moments where he's not going to look like the MVP and he's going to struggle. And look, I want to give an awful lot of credit to the Buffalo Bills in the second half for making Drake mortal again. I think in that regard, using the spy on the defense to take away the run options, especially in the second half and late in the fourth quarter, really, I think, limited his options. And Drake's going to have to find a way to come through that and be able to play through it. But you can understand that. You can explain that away and say, well, he just ran into a good game plan from a team that is very good and showed that in the second half of this matchup. But when you look at the amount of penalties, 7 non-offsetting penalties for the New England Patriots, 3 were on the defense, 2 on the offense, 2 on the special teams, undisciplined football, very fundamentally unsound tackling. Some of that had to do with the absence of Robert Spillane, who is their top tackler. But the Patriots weren't doing Patriot-like things in the second half, and Buffalo made them pay for it. That is too good a football team on the opposite sideline to give opportunities to, and the Patriots did that quite often. They didn't run the ball nearly effectively as they needed to down the stretch, while one, I believe, design run that I counted in the second half after utilizing the run so well in the first half to be able to even have a little fun out there. You saw Josh McDaniels, pulling some trickery out of his bags and, be able to, really, I think, give a lot of confidence to that offense. The Bills made adjustments. They definitely played up to their expectation, but the Patriots certainly had a letdown in the fundamentally sound football we're used to seeing from them. So to me, that's the biggest concern. Now, if you're a Patriots fan, you want to see how they're going to come out of this and how they approach Week 16 coming up.
It was tough all the way around in the second half, but especially the whole game really for special teams. The kick coverage was not good the whole game. So, there's you can point to just about every position group, every player, every coach for something in this game, and that's how you blow a 21-point lead. And so what I looked at, the biggest one for me, Mike, is 5 for 5 in the red zone for Buffalo. Again, you can't get it. You can't hold a team to a field goal in the red zone. They're the 32nd best red zone defense in the NFL, the Patriots, and 5 straight touchdown drives for the Bills at one point in this game. When you look back at it, we're kind of in the midst of the 10-game winning streak. The Patriots do look like the best team in football, and it's easy to forget that this is year one of building this thing back up. So when you look at that now, is this a situation where, of course, the Bills win that game? Josh Allen's now 23-9 in December in his career, and they've come back from these AFC East deficits twice in the last 4 seasons. Is that one that, we call it a scheduled loss in some sports, but that it was just, that was the one that Buffalo had the edge?
Yeah, I think in some reasons that is, and again, I think it's because of the battle-tested nature of the way in which this game was played, and you saw Buffalo be able to rise to the occasion because they've been there before. Josh Allen has been in this situation before, and he knew exactly what needed to be done in order to take his team to the next level. And for all of the vitriol that Buffalo fans will hurl at that coaching staff, they did a really remarkable job of adjusting to what the Patriots were doing, and then in a lot of ways putting it back in their face and doing it even better. So Buffalo at this point, at least in my estimation, really showed that they are a team that is ready to take that next step and ready to make that next move. With the Patriots, because of their youth, because of their inexperience, because they're still learning to play with one another and they're still in year one, like you said, Cam, I think in a lot of ways, there's still a test that needs to be passed if you're the New England Patriots. Maybe that gets passed this week against the Baltimore Ravens. This is going to be a team that's coming off of a huge blowout win. They're ready. They're eager to show what they can do. They're technically still in the hunt when it comes to a playoff spot. So they're playing for their proverbial lives in 2025. The Patriots can go into a road environment, a hostile environment, quell the storm, show that this was a temporary blip on the radar screen. Yeah, I think people are going to start looking at them as one of the best teams in the league again, in terms of being in that pantheon of teams that can really do damage in the playoffs. They sputter once again at the hands of the Baltimore Ravens. All of a sudden, the bloom starts coming off the rose a little bit. You start hearing those dreaded words. They got figured out. I think it's too early to make that call. I'm not going to say that this team got figured out yesterday. I think they ran into a team that was looking to make their move. They made their move, and the Patriots just found, the quicksand syndrome that had avoided them for so long. They were in it yesterday. Once they started making mistakes, they kept making them. And unfortunately, it just resulted in a loss for this team.
Yeah. And by the way, I mean, Baltimore, like you said, they look a lot different than they looked the first couple of weeks of Lamar being back. That looks like a team that is kind of figuring it out once again. And coming into the second half, JJ Watt on the broadcast did, kind of a highlight package of all these things the Patriots were doing defensively, the stunts they were bringing to get to Josh Allen. They got to him a couple of times, how they were sealing the edge, obviously rallying to the football. They've been great at that all season long. And then basically from that package on, it was just the Bills. The Bills just scored every time. So is there something glaring to you that you said, yeah, the Bills coaching staff worked on this at halftime, or was it just wearing down the Patriots?
Well, I think the Patriots coaching staff tried to do as best they possibly could to control someone like Josh Allen, who is so good at being able to pick out your weaknesses and then throw them back at you. But I think the Patriots forgot a little bit, and I think we all did, as to how good Buffalo is at attacking the edges. And I think that's something that maybe we didn't give them enough credit for. They did that an awful lot in the second half. Once again, I think it was a very smart move to put the spy on Drake to keep him from getting those run options and making things happen with his legs and creating off script. But I think Buffalo proved that they are definitely the better team when it comes to evaluating deficiencies right now and being able to attack them. In terms of what the Patriots can do to adjust that, they have to learn that their adjustments can't just come at halftime. They need to be better. They need to be fundamentally sound. Go back to what works. Go back to what's basic, and then start to build. We've seen Patriots teams in the past, Cam, that have fallen, blown big leads, gone down and suffered difficult defeats. But the one thing that they always did to reset was bring it back to basics and then start putting the fundamentals together. And once they did that, then they could start playing their game from that moment on. That, to me, is what Mike Vrabel and this coaching staff need to do this week. Strip it down, get back to basics early, and then start getting into more fundamental smash mouth type football for this team. Defense has to be much more aggressive than they were in the second half. I like the aggression we saw in the first half. They need to keep that up for 4 quarters. Put the hammer down, give it hell, and make sure that this team is off balance. Part of that will happen when they get guys like Milton Williams and Robert Spillane back in the lineup. You want to make sure those guys are healthy for the stretch run. So if you needed to take a hit yesterday, I understand why Spillane was on the sidelines, and obviously Milton is on IR. He can't be activated. But once these guys get back in the lineup, you'll see that aggression return. You'll see guys like Christian Barmore and Karius Tonga play with a little bit more oomph in their step because they're not reactionary at that point. They're not being asked to take on the duties of 2-3 players. They can play their individual game. That's going to be so important for this team down the stretch.
Yeah. And the Robert Spillane thing is interesting. So he's questionable during the week. He's listed as active. He's in uniform. He doesn't play a snap. And I first see that, Mike, and I'm thinking, oh, maybe Vrabel is like Belichick. Maybe this is the Malcolm Butler thing. What's going on here? Like, I'm like, he's been one of their best players all year. Why is he being benched? And then you hear that, might not have been 100% game ready. Like that might have been the thing. So is that kind of the read you're getting on it, that it was more a health thing rather than any kind of discipline thing?
Yeah, from those I talked to close to the team after the game, their consensus was that when they watched Robert warming up and they saw him going through his pregame ritual, he didn't look to be 100%. And with the nature of the injury that he's battling, if he plays on it, he can make it worse. And you definitely don't want that to happen, especially down the stretch. This guy needs to be 100% healthy. He's so important to not only the gameplay on the field, but also the direction that everybody is following. Robert is the guy they look to for guidance on the field. He's the midfield captain. So in that regard, his role is so important. I think the Patriots wanted to err on the side of caution, looked at him and said, you know what, get healthy, get where you need to be. Your emergency, in case of emergency, you're the break glass guy today. If we really, really need to put you in. But I think the Patriots saw enough from their defense to let them know that we can give him the day off as a coach's decision and make sure that he's ready for this stretch run. So, yeah, there's nothing sinister going on when it comes to Spillane. Their relationship, meaning his and Mike Vrabel's, is as strong as ever. And I look for him to be out there as soon as he's ready to go. So I don't think you'll see any further repercussions come from that, other than the fact that, the Patriots clearly missed him out there yesterday.
Coming off a rare Patriots loss, the 10-game winning streak snap, Mike Debate of Patriots on SI joins the Wicked Boston show. And, the defense was a big part of this, as we've talked about, the 5 straight touchdown drives, not getting a stop in the red zone, not forcing a turnover. Well, one turnover that didn't count. But Drake Maye obviously goes under the microscope here. He's the quarterback. He is the star. He's the MVP frontrunner. And I think it's fair to say from my end that Drake choked in this game yesterday. Doesn't mean that his season's bad or anything like that, but he didn't take that opportunity when the team really needed him and the breaks were kind of beating the boys on the other side. That's NFL quarterbacks in this league. But what is your concern level for Drake Maye as we are, 3 games out from his first playoff game, when you see that, when kind of the chips are stacked against him, so to speak?
It's a learning experience for Drake. In terms of how concerned I am about him, I'm concerned about the fundamentals. You want to see him be able to rise to the occasion more in these moments. But I'm definitely not worried about whether or not he can. I think it's just a matter of when he comes into his own and you start to see that type of leadership really blossom in a player. Drake has been so good this year. I think a lot of people forget that he is essentially dealing with a season and 2/3 basically under his belt. That's all that he has in terms of his NFL career. Look at a guy like Josh Allen yesterday that took that team on his back and said, you know what, I'm going to elevate James Cook. I'm going to elevate Khalil Shakir. I'm going to make sure that the guys around me are doing their job, and I'm going to take the job that my offensive line is doing, and I'm going to carry this team to a victory. Yeah, Drake has that element in him, but it's not completely cultivated. Josh has been in the NFL for a good number of seasons. He's the reigning NFL MVP for a reason. You can't compare the two in terms of their savvy level right now at a pro level game and their experience level. But the one thing that you always look for in an NFL quarterback, and I quote the late, great Gene Hackman from The Replacements on this, winners want the ball when the game's on the line. You never saw Drake not want the moment. He wanted it. He was there, and he played like he wanted it. He had difficulty with decision-making. There were times where you looked at him and you said, oh, yeah, there's a rookie mistake or there's a second-year player mistake. He needs to be better in these circumstances. If you want to be an MVP and you want to be in that conversation, you need to rise to that occasion. Maybe at this point, we've seen a little bit of bloom come off the rose when it comes to Drake Maye's MVP candidacy, but anybody pointing to this second half of football as a reason to point to his so-called decline and you know the narrative is going to be out there if it's not already, I think that's way too premature. And if you don't mind me saying so, I think that's a little asinine. The Patriots still have a phenomenal talent at quarterback. They have no reason to worry about their future. But in the immediate right now, I think you have to understand that there is still ways to go before Drake Maye settles into what I believe will eventually be an elite position in this league in short order.
And it's true. Like, we get so caught up in like quarterback versus quarterback. It's like, but they don't play each other. Like, they're not on the field at the same time. So the Bills are a good defense, although they've been Jekyll and Hyde, I would say, the last couple of weeks. But you look at, the Patriots, has the schedule been easy? Yes, we all knew that coming into the year. That's how the league works, right? But like, they've played the number 1 and number 2 passing defenses in the league in that stretch, and Drake Maye cooked them both. So it's like we can do this game all the time. And I think what's interesting, the amount of experience Drake has in the league is not very much. And really, this is, I would say, like the first test that he's flunked, other than maybe being ready to play week 1 as a rookie, which I think we all knew coming in. So I don't really want to hold that against him. But when he was starting, he was ready to play. Right. He was not lost in this league. And then it was primetime games. Oh, well, he got that. Big games on the road like Buffalo earlier this year. He got that. Oh, let's face the top passing defense in the league. He checked that. So this is kind of the first one that you can even look at and be like, he flunked it. So now, of course, like to your point, everyone at ESPN's like, yep, it's Josh Allen. No, it's Matthew Stafford. No, it's this guy. And it's just Drake Maye is now out of the picture. Entirely, apparently. But looking at some of the extra stuff in this game, Mike Vrabel had an interesting quote this morning on EEI talking about the officiating. I don't know if you've seen this yet because it did come out right before we started the show about the officiating in this game. He said something about they lead the league in offensive holdings. They didn't get one called in this game, which isn't actually right. The Bills did get one called in this game. But specifically that Marcus Jones play. It looks like he comes down with the ball. Looks like it's going to be an interception for the Patriots. Instead, they call a pass interference and a catch for Shakir. And it doesn't look like either of those things happened when you look at the replay. But since the flag came out, you can't challenge a pass interference call. So what did you make of that? And obviously the Patriots had opportunities to make stops after that. But that seemed like almost a turning point in the game.
Yeah, it absolutely did. And if you're asking my opinion on that, no, I don't agree with the referee's call at all. I believe that it was an interception, should have been, for Marcus Jones. And I don't agree with the ticky-tack nature of the way they called that. And you look a couple of series later, Patriots ran into the same thing with Carlton Davis. And Carlton Davis was really upset about it after the game. He said, look, let us play. If it's definitive, if you believe that this was an infraction, you throw the flag. You don't wait 10, 15 seconds and then toss a flag and say that it was pass interference. That had the ability to change the complexity of the game, as did the Marcus Jones play. And when you look at multiple calls being made in the same fashion, and the one thing I will say is they're both made by the same judge, they're both made by the same official, it's a judgment call. And we talked to Mike Vrabel after the game about this, and he was very matter-of-fact of saying, it's the same guy that made the judgment call. It's a judgment call. We got to fix, we got to accept it. We've got to move on. He was very, I believe, the bigger man when it came to that. But Carlton was not about to mince words. He felt that that flag coming out late was certainly an issue with him. And I didn't agree with the Davis call either, as long as we're on the same subject. You can see the grasping of the jersey before the ball arrives. But, the flag coming out 10 or 15 seconds after the ball hits the ground, really, I think is something that the officials need to review. And I think that's something that needs to be looked at the league office. Whether or not they will do that is your guess is as good as mine. But calls like that can affect a team. And I think it affected the Patriots yesterday. I think that especially that Jones call definitely had an impact on their ability to execute down the stretch. And unfortunately, Cam, the problem with that for the Patriots is that if you're going to be a team that is going to compete for a championship and you're in the thick of that, you have to be able to rise above it. Patriots showed that they were a young team yesterday, and maybe that bothered a little bit. Maybe it stuck in their craw a little more than it should be. That's a teaching experience. It's a learning experience for the Pats. But yeah, if there are guys in that locker room that are upset by what you saw from the officials yesterday, and I know the fan base is upset about it, I can't argue with you. You have every right to be upset.
Yeah, and you're right to point out the Davis call too. I mean, he doesn't impede the route at all. And it's
Right.
just like both third down calls, by the way, both third downs. So that and both in plus territory. So, that does have a big effect on the game. But like you said, I mean, I'm right there with you. You have chances to stop them after that. None of those put them at the 1 yard line,
Exactly.
So
Right.
you do have chances to stop them or at least hold them to something. And the Patriots did not at any point in that second half. Mike Debate, before we get you out of here, do want to talk about the road going forward. Baltimore looks better after this week. Lamar Jackson looks better. Miami, tricky. They're not playing for anything, but that might be the worst possible scenario for the Patriots in Week 18. And of course, you got the Jets in between there as well. Looking for that AFC East title still. I mean, you got to get the playoff berth first. Looking for the AFC East title and a possible number 1 or number 2 seed after this game against Buffalo. How do you feel about the Patriots in the final 3 weeks of the season?
Well, for all of the negativity that's surrounding a loss, the Patriots technically are still masters of their domain when it comes to the AFC East. Even if they drop this game coming up to the Ravens on Sunday night in Week 16, they take care of business against the Jets and the Dolphins. They're AFC East champions. They're getting the hat and T-shirt going into the playoffs. So if they want a division title, they need those last 2 games. That is a must. I wouldn't rest on your laurels and wait for that. You try to get the wins and you try to pile them up as soon as you possibly can. They will need a better record than the Denver Broncos in order to get the top seed in the conference right now because of Denver's victory over the Green Bay Packers yesterday and the Patriots lost to the Bills. It's still possible, but it's more like that Lloyd Christmas. So you're telling me there's a chance. Probably not as likely as Pats fans would like to hope. So that first round bye is going to be tough. But again, it's not impossible. If you're the Patriots and you're Mike Vrabel, you preach only wins. Control your own destiny. Control your own fate. We are a team that just won 10 in a row, and no one thought we could do it but the people in this locker room. Let's go out, end the season strong, win 3 straight, and take care of business heading into the playoffs. If the Patriots do that, yeah, I think a lot of people are going to look up and say, that's a team to be reckoned with. We don't want any part of the New England Patriots heading into the playoffs. If they drop 1 or if they drop 2, now you're looking at a team that might be limping into the playoffs. And we saw what happened in 2021, when the Patriots did that, had a nice little win streak going, and then kind of limped into the playoffs. They get the doors blown off them in their only playoff game that year. I think this team has much more mettle and much more talent, so I don't think you'll see it. But again, that's why they play the games on the field. Patriots have to take care of their own business, and that's winning when they need to.
You're right. Any given Sunday. And then we bring in Mike Debate from Patriots on SI on Monday. Mike, just tell the people what you got in the oven today and your reactions and where to find them.
Absolutely. Well, you can find all of our stuff over on New England Patriots on SI, my content, the content of all our great writers of the On SI team, as well as the new On SI podcast, All Patriots Talk. We're going to be breaking down all of the Patriots information from Week 15, the good, the bad, the certainly ugly, and we'll even dabble into the refs a little bit. And then we're going to quickly pivot because the Patriots have a huge Sunday night matchup coming up with Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, and that Baltimore Ravens team that is eager to show that they can be playoff bound as well. A lot of good times, a lot of interesting times coming up for Patriots fans. It's going to be exciting, no question about it, but we'll have you covered on New England Patriots on SI.
We'll be looking forward to that, and we'll be looking forward to talking to you next week. Mike, always appreciate the time.
Anytime, Cam. Thanks so much for having me on, bud.
Of course. There he goes. Mike Debate of Patriots on SI, covering this team inside and out. What is your concern level after this one loss? They've now lost more recently than the Red Sox have. Bummer. But seriously, what's your concern level? Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Helps us out a lot, and it helps you get the lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio right here every weekday, noon Eastern time, live on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts as well. It's right here on the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stuart. When we come back, we're going to talk Mike Vrabel because he had some choice words about the officiating in yesterday's game on the radio this morning. Yes, the team that blew a 21-point lead is talking about the refs. But is Mike Vrabel justified? We'll say it next on the Wicked Boston Show. Holiday football has arrived. With DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, the unexpected can turn game day into payday. And don't forget, DraftKings has your back with early exit. If your player goes down in the first half, you still get paid in cash. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code CAMSHOW. That's code CAMSHOW. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins instantly. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, pass-through of per wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio limited time offer.
Welcome to Kit Bag, the ultimate destination for football fans. Whether you're cheering for Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United, or any other top club, for true football passion, think Kit Bag. Visit kitbag.com today. That's KITBAG.com. Kit Bag.
Our professionals are not only experts in managing urgent concerns, but also in providing top-notch preventative health care. We're proud to connect pet owners to a vast network of licensed veterinary professionals, ready to address any immediate concerns. Book your first appointment today.
At Mitzi, we believe the right light can transform any space. Mitzi has the perfect design for you. Beautiful, well-made lighting without the high price tag. Discover your perfect light at Mitzi.com. That's MITZI.com. Mitzi. Streamline event and appointment booking with Amelia's sleek, modern, and fully customizable booking forms. WPAmelia.com. That's WPAMELIA.com. Amelia.
Everybody at Equalife really has a passion and a real interest in helping people feel well. How much further can we go to get you feeling even better? It is a complete partnership between the two of us.
At Tusane's, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Visit Tusanes.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.
Back here on the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stuart. I'm your host, Cam Stuart. Zach Burke is behind the glass, keeping us on the air, live on YouTube 5 days a week, noon Eastern time, and then available wherever you get your podcasts as well. Special thank you to Mike DeBate, man. I mean, Mike, he just comes on every Monday and he gives us the best damn analysis on what we just watched. He's either keeping me tempered or today, he's helping me, stay off the edge of the building after one loss in 3 months. So always appreciate Mike. And we've still got another facet of this game to go over. The Patriots lose to the Bills. They blow a 21-point lead. They give up 5 straight touchdowns at one point. Their MVP frontrunner quarterback completes one pass in the fourth quarter, and they score on one drive in the second half. And it was a one-play 65-yard touchdown run. So obviously the problem then was the officiating. It was the refs who were to blame. At least that's what Mike Vrabel said on EEI Monday morning. He had this to say about the officiating in the Patriots-Bills game Sunday.
It's a difficult job. They do have a difficult job. The consistency, sometimes I struggle with it. Whether, I'll say this. The Bills lead the NFL in offensive holding, and I'll leave it at that. Right. And that would be hard for me to understand how the team that is coming into the game leading, and that's how they play, didn't have one yesterday. Right. So well, that's hard for me to understand.
Not really mincing words much there. Hard for me to understand. Well, here's my two big takeaways on that shot right there. First off, they did get called for a holding. In fact, it happened in a goal-to-go situation. They scored a touchdown. It was brought back because of an offensive holding. And then, Mike, your defense let them score on the next play. So there was a holding call in there. And the second, of course, this is weak. This is weak. And Mike Vrabel's not weak. This is out of character. Like every coach bitches during the game. Every single coach in the history of the sport has bitched at refs during the game. Like it happens all the time. Every Friday, Saturday, or Sunday that football is happening. And Thursday nights too. But to come out after your team completely blew it, just egg all over their face on this Monday morning, and to come out and complain about the officiating, it just reeks, man. It reeks because there's so much other stuff that went wrong. And Mike Vrabel talked about the other stuff that went wrong. It's not like this was the only soundbite he had from that interview, right? And he was asked about the officiating, to be fair. But this is where Mike Vrabel can lean into his chops a little bit, and I think he does after wins. Lean into his sarcasm, lean into his radio riz, if you will, and just say, wasn't my favorite game. Or thought they missed some things. Laugh it off and get to what really lost them this game. The way Marcus Jones did after the game. With his controversial call, he said, look, that's what they called. I got to move on. Speaking of that, Mike Vrabel had something to say about the Marcus Jones pass interference call that took a Patriots interception potentially off the board.
I'm sure ours are penalties, and we can debate Marcus Jones. I don't think it was a catch. You know what I mean? Whether we think it's a PI, that's their call. So we'll just, again, we have to know what the rules are. We have to know how they are calling it, what the mechanics are. If you're not playing the football, the margin for error goes way, way, way down. So when you're not playing the football and there's perceived contact or whatever it may be, the margin for error goes way, way down.
He's right about that. And he's also right in that pass interference / catch call was total bullshit. That was an awful, awful call. They called pass interference and a catch for Shakir, and neither of those things happened. There was no interference, and Shakir never secures the ball. He never has his hands over the ball. It's incidental. Marcus Jones has his hands on the ball and then comes away with the ball. And somehow that's a catch for the offense. And I got J.J. Watt, who just thought the refs were so in the bag against the Bills most of this game for some reason. J.J. Watt is sitting there saying, yeah, tie goes to the offense. I'm like, bitch, there's no tie. You're calling, this is a 17-0 baseball game and you're calling it a tie? Like that was not, like, he never gets his hands on the ball. Every replay you see never gets his hands on it. Marcus Jones does. It should be an interception. It's a third down play that at worst should be incomplete and a kick situation for the Bills. And at best should be a turnover and the Patriots keeping the Bills off the board entirely. And it's neither of those things. And then, of course, as the Patriots let him do all afternoon, they didn't stop him after that. And the Bills scored a touchdown. So it was and the Carlton Davis DPI at a different point in the second half was horrid. That was in the fourth quarter. It was horrible. And it was a flag that was like 10 seconds too late. Both third down plays that keep the Bills on the field in eventual touchdown scoring drives. So, yeah, you can be upset about those calls for sure. They absolutely hosed you on those calls. But you blew a 21-point lead. That doesn't come from the refs. It was a very poorly officiated game. And I think the calls went against the Patriots for the most part. But you blew a 21-point lead. Buffalo scored 35 of the final 45 points in the game. You had one scoring drive the second half, and it was one play. I just can't sit here and be like, man, the Patriots lost because of the refs here. They just jobbed them too much. They did job them. They did. The refs screwed the Patriots a couple times in this game, but they did not screw away a 21-point lead. Only the Patriots did that. And my concern level for this team going forward is kind of high. Kind of high after how you saw that defense play yesterday. The defense has been going in the wrong direction, and it showed once again in the second half of this game. I mean, it was bad, but I don't like the head coach coming out and saying that. And I get it. He was asked about it. He did address the other things that went wrong in the interview, but I think it's kind of weak when a guy like Mike Vrabel comes out, a no-nonsense kind of guy, old school football guy. Like, I didn't like when Bill Belichick treated the media members like dogs, but at least he wouldn't give some bulletin board material for that. And Mike was wrong. Mike Vrabel was wrong about the holdings. It was a pretty big holding call. That was the right call. And then you let them score anyway. So maybe that's why he forgot, because it didn't lead to any kind of defensive success for the Patriots. But I, for one, didn't like hearing that after the game. Just didn't. And I'm one who, like, the Patriots have gotten screwed a couple times this year. New Orleans was the worst officiated game I think I've ever seen in the NFL back in October. That was win number 2 of that 10-game winning streak. But I think it's very weak for the head coach to come out and say that. And I really hope that doesn't trickle down into the locker room, because what this team needs right now is to not have excuses, to turn the page to the next game and cowboy up, to use a Kevin Millar term. Friggin' cowboy up here. You got 3 games left. And I don't know how many guys are still left from that 21 team. Not a lot. But those ones will tell you, we absolutely blew it in December. We had a 2-game lead in the AFC East going into December in 2021. Totally blew it, starting with a loss to the Bills at home. And then we ended up having to go to their building in the playoffs and got our ass kicked like few playoff teams have ever had their ass kicked in NFL history. Don't do that again. Let's not get into excuse making here and do that again. Let's not limp into the playoffs and go through that shit. That was horrifying, embarrassing. He got Baltimore next week on the road, Sunday Night Football. They're desperate for a win. That is a test. That is just as much of a test as this Buffalo game was, in my opinion, the way the Ravens played yesterday. So cowboy up, put your nuts on the table, and play like the AFC East champions that you're trying to be. And let's not talk about the refs. Let us talk about the refs. Let those of us jabronis with microphones in front of us talk about the refs. Let's let the fans with the Twitter fingers talk about the refs, not the head coach. Because, again, there were people all over the league that thought the officiating was bad. This was not just a Patriots derangement thing. Like, there were former players around the league tweeting about how bad these calls were, specifically that non-interception call. It was dreadful. But let's not let the head coach do that. Let me know what you think. Did the Patriots get screwed by the refs? And or, even if they did, should the head coach be talking about it on Monday morning? Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We come at you live every weekday, noon Eastern time on YouTube, and then we're available wherever you get your podcasts as well. Your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio is right here on the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stuart. So thank you to you guys. Thank you to Mike Debate. Thank you to Zach Burke for keeping us on the air. And we will see you tomorrow on the Wicked Boston Show.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious.
Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels. Visit opengoaalusa.com and elevate your training today.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farm, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com. We are Rogue Media Sports.